traditional TV, right? You know, you get what they give you, right? So mainly, it's very centric. It's all pre-programmed. Over the years, these TV providers have invested a huge amount of money in this whole infrastructure. It's very traditional. However, on the downside, everything is driven by the content provider. It's all in push mode, so you get what you get, and that's all you're going to get. So, right now we're starting to see this change. We're starting to see this whole evolution going on, and consumers, the whole trend is starting to change. We're starting to see user-friendly EPGs coming out. Personalization and recommendations are starting to happen. It's all about multi-screen devices. We're starting to see tablets take a big role in it. However, in this whole new OTT world, content quality still varies, okay? Because disparate and complex delivery networks are still not able to deliver these services at a quality level. So we're starting to see telecom service providers starting to enter the OTT market for the first time, and they're either entering the market as an OTT player, or they're starting to partner with some of the OTT players to actually deliver the content at a quality level. And right now, the OTT quality problem is not going to go away. Okay, it's here. 75% of all IP traffic is going to be video. And here's an example of the whole projected growth when you start to look at it. One of the things, a lot of this information is from the States that we had to take because of Nielsen, and they actually have pretty good records, and we're finding this to be pretty comparable to what we're seeing in Indonesia at this particular time. We're starting to see that, things like Netflix and YouTube, they're already taking almost 30% of the peak hour traffic, and that's quite a bit. And that's only 3 to 5 hours, and the Netflix between 8 and 10 is commanding over 28% of the traffic right now. So we're starting to see, video, OTT taking a big piece of the network. Additionally, by 2020, we're predicted that OTT viewers will outnumber pay TV subscribers. In 2 years, the industry predicts over 60 million subs in the U.S. versus 100 million pay TV users. So clearly, there's this market where pay TV penetration is massive. And for many of our markets in Asia, we're likely to see OTT subscribers outnumber pay subscribers sooner than later. So the whole shift and the paradigm is starting to change very rapidly out here. What I'm trying to show here basically is, so what's their habits? If you start to look at it, right now, the consumer spends 158 hours watching TV. But if you look down at the bottom, the 4.20 hours of watching video on mobile devices such as tablets, pads, and all those other devices, that's starting to rise at a rate of almost 40%. So we're starting to see this happening rapidly. If you remember many, many years ago, one of the fast food restaurants, a long time ago, they figured if they got the young kids eating the French fries and the hamburgers when they were young, they'd be taking that all the way up through the generations. And nowadays, I have a 1.5-year-old granddaughter. She's already has a tablet. She plays this Piggly Wiggly thing or whatever, so she's already into it. At 1.5, she can walk in front of the TV, press her tablet, and it goes up on there. She knows how to do it. She even knows the secret codes. So I think you're going to see a big change. And people in these families, we did a whole study of this, Huawei, and we're finding out that if there's 5 people in the family, there's 5 tablets or there's 5 smartphones, and there's no reason that you cannot go ahead and put a box there and everybody watch what they want in their individual rooms or whatever. So it's happening, and a lot of it is driven by broadband growth. We know that the infrastructure is coming out. We know that all these new home devices and these smartphones are all proliferating it. Uh, we're projecting that the tablets will outnumber the desktops by 28% in the next year. So it's happening and it's moving quickly, a lot faster than everybody thought. What we're showing here is today the global film entertainment industry, right, is a $470 billion market right now. And if you look at it, DVD sales are going down, right? Theatrical, which is really the movie theaters, they're just putting out these 3Ds to try to stave off their going downs, but they're going up a little bit. In the DVD players, one of the things is if you notice, they come out with Blu-rays and all this other stuff to try to increase their part, but it's not happening. Pay TV, there's still this good growth in content. People will still pay for good content, right? They'll still play for the soccer games, the football games, and those things. Pay TV and video on demand, and over the air is on the way down. Right? So, a lot of things are changing. So, the industry faces a whole slow but certain move away from that high-priced physical goods to low-priced digital goods. So we've created our own conundrum here, right? As we go with digital, things will become more and more low-priced, so things will be going down, and it'll affect the industry. This is an example of the evolution from physical goods to low-priced digital goods. In the beginning, right, we used to travel to the store, we had limited selections, we had late fees. One of the things that we found out in our research was a lot of these stores that rent out DVDs and things like that, they really make their money on late fees. That's where their money comes from. And then today, stores no longer necessary, right? You got a short wait time, but in the future, it's all about instant fulfillment, right? They want right now, this is it. They want technically more, it's going to be technically more challenging, and there'll be more of a selection, right? And it'll all be enabled by the internet, these CDN services that will deliver in the quality that you expect to see it in. So this is just trying to show you what the actual, what the ecosystem would look like. It's a unique ecosystem. It's the system can support not only OTT TV, but also we see it as supporting social networking. It's going to support messaging, voice applications, and cloud services. So a lot of the applications will start to meld into this whole ecosystem. So really now's the time for the service providers to decide their role in the value chain and develop where they really want to be in the ecosystem. This is so what I want to show here is that if you start to look at this diagram here, right, the content providers, they're the people that produce and distribute the content. The CDN providers, they offer the content for distribution, and the access is coming from the service providers, right, who supply the network, the internet access, and everything else. So, in this model, what we're saying right now is the OTT providers sometimes have an in-house CDN or they use a commercial CDN. However, these CDNs tend not to have any end-to-end quality. So, right now, even though it's a CDN network, it's still not going to deliver the quality all the way to the end-to-end. So you're still going to have a couple of, blips going down. And then the customer buys from multiple service providers. So if you start to look at that, the ISP sell internet access with bandwidth limitations, the OTT sell their content access. There's really no real single point at this particular time. There's no relationship between the ISP and the content service provider. The bandwidth required to actually deliver this content and then the bandwidth available to the end consumer comes from the ISP. And finally, basically, both OTT and ISP providers, they have duplicate systems. They have duplicate overheads. So they're still very, very siloed. So the future value chain, right, most OTT providers will use an end-to-end commercially available CDN that supports the quality service for that last mile. So we'll start to see this whole end-to-end CDN support happening. And the ISPs will become service aggregators, and they'll provide a unified storefront for the end consumer for his content, as well as the other services that he can offer. There will be a whole sharing of customer information between the OTT and the service aggregator that will start to enable the end service management and the content across the whole internet access. And finally, potentially some operation functions could be shared, right? They could share billing systems, some of the management systems, some of the ERP, some of the content systems actually start to be shared. So OTT service traffic will, over the next few years, become the telecom service provider's biggest headache. Even though you are the service telecom provider and you have nothing to do with the OTT guy, you're still going to get blamed. So if they're watching a movie and you're the service provider, it's your fault. And also, this whole big bandwidth is going to be utilized. And the problem is that, if bandwidth is being utilized by this OTT provider, then your own services as a service provider will also be impacted. And the final part is that, it's difficult to monetize a network for OTT OTT video if, in fact, you receive no revenue from the service. So you're not getting the revenue from the OTT. And it gets worse as the price starts to carry a high for the megabit starts to decrease. So now you're in this whole conundrum where you're carrying somebody's services, your megabits have decreased your money, and you're getting blamed. So it's like a tough situation to be in, not like being married. Okay, so then if you look at the telecom service providers' need to develop and offer content delivery networks to the OTT providers. So it comes in stages. Right now, we're at the smart pipe. Today most CDNs offer the smart pipe. They have adaptive streaming. They do caching. They have bandwidth trade-offs. They can do bandwidth management. However, in the future, you're going to start to see some changes happening. You're going to see CDN coming in. You're going to see SDN coming in. You're going to see the big data coming in. These things will start to really play into the roles that we've been looking for. Analytics will start to understand the frequency of people, of what they view, of what their content. We can place that information and cache them out into the networks. We'll have content aware. So the network will finally come across this whole elasticity where, if you got SDN, you got CDN, we can start to do elastic video. We can open and close the network on demand. Content users and correlation will start to happen. And then vertical ad enabling will start to happen. So, the next generation is going to start to make this more of a profitable for the service providers themselves if they go into this and if they start to take over on this. Okay. Oh, okay. So vertical ad enabling is basically you can go ahead and insert local ads into the streams. So as the person's watching the picture, you can put that little guy running around. You can put and because some of the licensing allows you to do that. Different licensing for ads, right? When you watch the video. So and it really depends on that video, but we're starting to see more and more videos allowing this other advertising. So in the future, telecom service providers need not only offer CDN smart pipe type services, but service enabling capabilities. So, so what does this whole thing mean to the next generation CDN, right? The next generation CDN it's going to comprise of two major pieces. One is the control plane. That's where the media data and the media controls sit. That's where we can do end request routing, traffic management. We can do load balancing, a lot of things that we already know about. We can do caching. And then the media plane, that's where we store the media, where we can do switching. That's going to do the dynamic content placement. So that'll allow the enablers to actually happen that we were talking about. So you'll start to see intelligence, like intelligent placement of customer content, transcoding adaptions for different devices, and handling of cache misses from the edge. So as cache is going out to the network and it's missing, we can substitute it. And then we can do live ingestment, and so these things are going to happen as we take CDN and SDN. SDN is where we can actually put the services out into the network. So, and of course, the result's going to be a highly managed delivery of content. That's what it's all about, right? Delivering quality content to the end user. A happy customer is somebody's going to pay for something. So, it's telecom provider needs to be able to monetize and maintain a high level, of services. So it's important to understand that, that if you're going to be in this business and you're going to be this service provider, then it has to be quality, high quality that you're going to be delivering. Low quality they can get from an OTT player right off the net. So, in summary, I'm just wrapping up now. So in summary, everything, the massive, there's going to be a massive growth in the OTT market. It's going to be driven by broadband connections, new home and mobile devices. Content providers are going to have new content, the revenue streams. And again, CDN represents an opportunity for the telco service providers. So CDN is going to be the control point for service providers entering into this new business. So that's it. Okay.